Imagine being mocked every day, ignored, underestimated, and belittled only for the person who tried to break you to find out you're the smartest in the room. Her name was Aaliyah Carter, 14, soft-spoken, always, seated at the back of the classroom, with her head slightly tilted down, pencil moving gently across the pages of her worn-out notebook. No one ever noticed how fast she wrote or how neat her work was. They only noticed that she didn't speak much. In a room full of loud voices and raised egos, Aaliyah's silence made her an easy target, especially for Mrs. Whitmore. Mrs. Whitmore was known as the strictest math teacher at Jefferson Middle School. Her heels echoed sharply against the tiled floor as she paced, ruler tapping against her palm, eyes scanning students like they were criminals waiting to be caught. She had a special way of looking at Aaliyah, a look that said, "You don't belong here." "Aaliyah Carter," she called one morning, her voice dripping with false politeness. "It must be very peaceful living in your own little world at the back of my class. Perhaps you think math is optional." A few students snickered. Aaliyah didn't look up. Her pencil kept moving. "Eyes up, girl," Mrs. Whitmore snapped. Slowly, Aaliyah raised her head. Her eyes were calm, too calm. "Since you've been so charmingly quiet," the teacher went on, "you must be hiding something from us. Or perhaps you simply don't understand anything. Let's find out, shall we?" She turned to the board and began writing what looked like an impossible wall of equations, quadratic expressions, nested fractions, variables tangled like wires in a broken headset. Even the top students in the class shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "Class," Mrs. Whitmore said, circling the problem dramatically. "This problem is from a level far beyond your grade. But maybe our silent genius at the back would like to give it a try." She pointed the ruler straight at Aaliyah. "Come to the board. Solve it." The room froze. Students whispered, "She's gonna mess up." "Why her?" "She doesn't even talk." Aaliyah stood. Her chair scraped against the floor, a sound louder than anyone expected. She walked to the front without rush, without fear. Each step felt heavy to the class, like thunder coming before a storm. She stood before the board, studying the problem. Not confusion, not panic, just focus. Mrs. Whitmore folded her arms with a tight smile. "Take your time. I don't expect miracles." Aaliyah picked up the marker, and the room held its breath. If you're still watching, like, subscribe and turn on post notifications, because what happens next will leave you speechless. The first line crossed the board, clean and confident. Then the second. Then the third. She moved like someone writing her own name, effortless, controlled, precise. Students leaned forward. One even stood up to see better. The classroom, once filled with whispers, fell into pure, sacred silence. Step by step, she dismantled the equation, untangling it, simplifying what was complex, finding patterns where others saw chaos. Each stroke of the marker carved authority into the air. Mrs. Whitmore's smile faded. Her arms slowly dropped to her sides. Aaliyah finished with a final simple answer circled at the bottom. She set the marker down. Done. Mrs. Whitmore walked toward the board, her heels no longer sharp, just dull clicks of disbelief. She checked each line, once, twice, 3 times. Then she froze. That's accurate," she whispered, barely audible. Murmurs filled the room, followed by gasps. "She got it!" "That was impossible." "How did she do that?" Aaliyah stepped back, eyes steady. Mrs. Whitmore turned to her, shaken. Where did you learn to do this?" Aaliyah spoke for the first time in weeks, her voice soft but strong. "My mother worked 3 jobs. Couldn't afford tutors, so I taught myself every night." The class went silent again, but this time it was different. It wasn't mocking. It was respect. The principal, who had been walking past the door, stepped inside. "Is everything all right in here?" Before Mrs. Whitmore could speak, a student shouted, "She solved the advanced equations, sir." All of them. The principal looked at the board, impressed. "Aaliyah Carter did this?" "Yes, sir," Aaliyah replied quietly. "That problem is from senior high-level mathematics." He shook his head in amazement. "Young lady, you have an extraordinary gift." Mrs. Whitmore swallowed hard. I owe you an apology, Aaliyah. I misjudged you." Aaliyah simply nodded. People usually do. From that day on, the back seat of the classroom was no longer a place of invisibility. It became a place of legend. Students began asking her for help. Teachers began recommending her for advanced programs. Her name spread throughout the school. Aaliyah Carter, the quiet girl, the genius they never saw coming. And Mrs. Whitmore? She never mocked another student again. Because silence, she learned, doesn't mean stupidity. Sometimes it means greatness waiting to be revealed.